Hello and welcome to this episode of The Hub on CGTN. I'm Wang Guan at Peking University in Beijing. Greetings, everyone. Now, China says it will stick with the policy of more proactive fiscal policy and moderately loose monetary policy in the year 2025. How will this policy mix impact the Chinese economy in the new year? And will this lead to an eventual stabilization of the property market, the stock market, and a rise in household consumption? Our guest today is Justin Lin, Dean of the Institute of New Structural Economics here at Peking University. Here's our conversation. Professor Lin, what do you think are the most important policy signals this time?
I think the most important message is that the commitment for development. We know that development is a foundation and the key to address any issues. And China has a great potential for development. And as long as we have the confidence, then we'll be able to utilize the potential and to have high quality growth and to generate more resources for us to cope with any kind of challenges. The message is that we are committed to deliver development.
On the fiscal side, we noticed a change in wording. China will have more proactive fiscal policy going forward in the year 2025. How do you expect that to be implemented by institutions and local governments and its impact on the Chinese economy going forward?
Currently, the growth in China is under the potential. There's a need for the government to play more proactive role to boost the demand domestically. And with that, the government changed the fiscal policy position from proactive to more proactive. Yeah. That means the Chinese government will provide more fundings to support projects and especially to release the bottlenecks of the constraints of the local governments. Because in the past, the local government carried a lot of responsibility for counter-cyclical measures by doing investment and so on, and they incurred some debt, some liability and so on, and that constrained their ability to cope with the new challenges. And the central government now provides special category of funding to release their burdens.
So you're saying that this round of more proactive fiscal policy is, first of all, about bailing out the debt liabilities, if any, of the local government. What about when it comes to the digital infrastructure, boosting domestic household demand, coming from the government side, the central government side, to households?
For the households, we do have a special project to support the household to replace the old consumer goods with the new consumer goods. For example, refrigerator, washing machine, and so on. And there's a special program for that also.
Professor Lin, for the first time in 14 years, Beijing says China will have moderately loose monetary policy going forward in the year 2025. What's your reading of that policy change?
I think that's a very important signal because certainly monetary policy is a very important macroeconomic policy measures. In the past, we are always very prudent in using monetary policy. With the growth under the potential, we need to release the monetary supply in order to equate more liquidity in our economy and to tap into our potential. And it's a very important signal, and I think it will restore the confidence of the people to make investment both in the real sectors but also in the equity markets.
to stabilize the property market, have a stable and healthy property market is also a priority. How do you envision that to become a reality for Chinese households? Because the property market has been under stress for the past couple of years.
I think the property market is still a pillar for Chinese economy. In the past, they contribute altogether close to a quarter of total demand in China. And certainly, we want to prevent the equity market to become a bubble. And the government took some preemptive measure, and that will provide a more solid foundation for our growth. But at the same time, people, they will have to have the confidence that the market will be stabilized, the prices will not continue to drop, in order for them to have the confidence to invest in the real estate. And for the real estate, I think it's still very important because we are still on the process of urbanization. When you have the people to move from rural area to urban area, certainly they need to have housing, and our income continue to rise, and we will have to have the improvement in our housing. So with that, I think real estate will still be a very important pillar for China's economic growth. And I think that these new policy measures will stabilize our confidence on the real estate markets. And so we can make it, on the one hand, improve our livings with a higher quality, but at the same time to have stable foundation for our economic development.
Also, the direction of China's stock market is anyone's guess. People have long been hoping for a steady bull market, which has been eluding China. What do you think this round of stimulus measures will do to China's stock market?
I think the stock market is a very important platform for provide funding to the enterprises for their investment, for their innovation, and so on. Currently, according to all the measurement, I think our pricing in the stock market is below it should be, because our ROE is among the one of the lowest in the world, and it should not be in that kind of situation. And I think that with the change in the monetary policy, with the commitment of the Chinese government to make the equity market perform its function for providing funding to support our innovation, our development, and the function can be restored. And I'm sure the equity market will also provide equity return to the investors.
President Xi recently met with representatives and leaders of international organizations and the key economic governance bodies of the world, including Madame Georgieva of IMF and so on and so forth. What policy is China trying to send by doing that?
I think as a scholar, I understand globalization is the best scenario for all the countries in the world. And in the past, we benefit from globalization. And even we see some negative sign out there, but we like to continue to champion, not only for China, but also for other developing countries, as well as people in the developed country. And I think the recent meeting with the multilateral development institutions, and also some bilateral meetings, as well as the initiative from China herself, like a global development initiative, global cultural initiative, and so
global
on.
Security initiative.
And a security initiative. I think that shows our commitment to globalization. We want to be a voice to champion for globalization, because we know that is good for everyone in the world. And certainly we hope other countries to benefit from the globalization.
Professor Lin, you have been a staunch voice for globalization and fair trade around the world. Are you concerned at all about the rhetorics of President-elect Donald Trump, saying that he will levy 10% additional tariff on Chinese goods? Sometimes he said that figure will be 100% or even 200%. He's made the same threats towards Mexico, Canada, the European Union. How do you feel about that?
Well, because in his first term, he used tariff as a weapon. And I tried to protect the U.S. and to make the U.S. stronger. I think that those kind of motivations should be respectable. Everyone certainly should, do the best for the country, and I hope their country to continue to grow, the life of their people continue to be improved. I have no doubt with the intention. I respect his intention, but we also need to look at what is the result. We know now inflation in the U.S. is extremely high, especially the cost of living increased so much. One reason is the protectionism. When you charge high tariff on the good you import, those kind of goods means you do not have competitive advantages. If you want to produce those goods domestically, the prices will be extremely high. And an import certainly can reduce the cost of those kind of goods and will help the people to have a more affordable livings, right? And so when the tariff rate was put on too high, then the cost of living is going to be too high. And I hope, he learned a lesson and to see what was the result of his previous policy in his first term. And because we always need to learn, right? We need to find in the truth from the facts, not the truth from your imaginations.
Yeah, truth from facts, not alternate universes per se. Finally, there has been so many predictions, so much rhetoric going around about the Chinese economy, saying that it will never be like what it was previously. China peak theories going around. I know you have been an optimist of the Chinese economy, but specifically, how do you project it to grow in the next few years with the policy support, institutional support, and so on and so forth?
Certainly, there's a lot of rhetoric about peak China and so on. And very often they use the experiences of other countries to predict what will be the future of China. But you know that in the past 45 years, the growth rate in China has been a miracle in the world. And in the past, we often heard of the story, the coming collapse of China, but China continued to grow. So I think the peak China is some kind of rhetoric, and based on maybe some experiences in the past. But every country is different. And especially if you look China, still has such a great potential for growth. And we have so many advantages. In the more traditional sectors, we still have the latecomers advantages. And in the new economies, I often say we have 4 advantages.
Which are?
One, we have the talent pool, because we have large population. And we have well-educated population, especially in science, technology, engineering, and also mathematics. Second one, we have the largest integrated domestic market in terms of purchasing power parity. And any kind of new innovation, we have the large domestic market, and those kind of innovation can reach economy scale in their production and to make them very competitive. The third one, we have the most comprehensive industrial sectors, industrial chains. So any kind of product requires hardware. We have the best supply of hardware domestically. On top of that, we have the advantage of institutions. Just like we talk about the Central Economic Work Conference, that every year we will try to understand what is the opportunities, what is the challenges, and we'll mobilize our resources to cope with the challenges, to tap into the opportunities. And with this kind of strong institution, this is advantages, make us able to utilize those three advantage: talents, market, and supply chain, and to make China competitive. So I'm confident China will continue to grow, annually at 5% or even more, and not only the coming years, I think maybe coming decades, and China will continue to be the driver of the global growth. As we know, since 2008, China contributes to around 30% of global growth every year. I think that will still be the scenario for China. And it's good for China to realize our dream of national rejuvenation, but it will also provide the opportunity to the rest of the world, especially we committed to open our economy. And we committed to globalization. So China's growth will be not only good for China, will also be good for everyone in the world.
Professor Lin, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you.